Okay, welcome to the March 18th meeting from the Economic Development Task Force. Meeting originally it was scheduled for the 12th, but due to the nice end of the season weather we got, we rescheduled to tonight. Tonight we're getting into the nuts and bolts of getting the final report pulled together. So, first order of business is to look at the minutes from February 12th meeting and see if there's any changes, corrections, additions.
I had maybe one or two corrections and then a couple of quibbles. Is that okay? Can I quibble? Cool. All right. In section 3, the very first sentence where it says Raymond was not included in those figures because they were not members, I just wanted to have like Raymond continue to be singular or something so that it didn't look like we were referring to the figures by using the word they. So Raymond was not included in those figures because we are not members or something, or we are not MMA members. You all hate it, don't you?
No, that makes sense.
I can see it
Like
in your
the
face.
town is not an MMA
Yeah, because
member?
the town is not an MMA member or whatever. You know, switching
Well,
it
sorry,
to
we
they.
Yeah.
But just change it to Raymond. Change the they to Raymond.
Because
Raymond is not.
An MMA
A member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that was it on that one. And then on, I don't know how you guys are doing for, what you have for pages, but on my page 2 at the very end, where the paragraph that begins, Mrs. Loring explained for residential, there was a checklist. It's almost toward the bottom.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they were more involved given, and I understand what that means, but it took me a couple of tries, so how about they were more complex? Is that the same flavor of that, Danielle?
Yeah. Is there a comma after that? Like,
No.
What should there be?
No.
Okay.
I got stuck on the word involved, thinking of it as not being intricate or complex, but thinking of it as being participatory or involved in something. So that's why I want.
So you want to strike involved,
And
given the
make
wide
it-
variety of, and just say more complex possibilities.
Yeah, complex, or if you have a better word, but that's a little clearer. And then on the next page, near the top, the bigger paragraph, it starts with Mrs. Loring again, which I rather like, and Mr. Olson. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Olson did not know it should be made mandatory. I kind of fought with that whole sentence. Did not know it should be made mandatory because the boards and committees had a long history of not being involved in litigation. What does that mean?
He didn't want it to be a reiterating what I thought it was that he did not think that training should be a mandatory because it was obvious that our boards were running smoothly because we hadn't been involved in litigation. So the boards were doing what their function was. So I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Should I say did not know if training should be mandatory? Like clarify what it is?
No, just say believe.
Did not
Yeah, believe instead of no. Yeah, yep, I like that. Did not believe. Let's see, because the boards and committees had a long history of not being involved in litigation. So what I got from that was there was a lot of litigation going on, but they weren't involved in it. But what we're really saying is there's so few instances of problems, right?
Right, because the board's, doing their function, like
Well, if you guys are happy with it, I'll shut up.
That's what he said, I think that's
Okay.
what he meant, that things were working out now, and there haven't been any big problems, so
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay, the last-ish thing, next to the last thing, on the next page, Mrs. Forbes, that would be me, about their successes or failures. Okay, I just wanted to switch the word "not" around here and put, but felt that not all activities should be business-related.
Where are you?
I'm in the,
First paragraph?
yep.
So put a not at before all?
Yep, and get rid of the
Felt that-
next "not."
Okay,
And then a little ways further along, liken them to a green light team that would be for FOR, not FORE, at tossing around ideas, plural.
okay.
And then the totally last thing is 2 paragraphs down. Mr. Olson felt that it was important to distinguish why an activity or policy was essential. The next, Mrs. Gifford asked if they could use their person, and that personal, right?
Yep.
Instead of person, yep, that's it.
Did I get the table right with all the pluses, minuses, and like my key and stuff like that?
Oh, I read, that was.
Well, did I get them all right though?
I don't know.
Oh,
So let's see. You mean ours, the assessment of the,
yeah, because I know, I think
Business
you were
friendly.
taking notes, weren't you, on the actual one? I
Oh,
was trying to take notes
probably.
on my,
Yeah, of course, that's what Carolyn was supposed to send us to.
well, yeah, I had a few Carolyn notes here too. Caroline?
Caroline.
Caroline, yeah.
yeah, I didn't know how, if you wanted me to follow up or if you wanted to contact her, Rolf, because I wasn't sure what the direction of your report was.
Well, I can get a hold, I can send her a message.
Okay.
And about, I had a couple of things, several things that I thought, well, I wasn't sure whether we were going to incorporate them into the final report or not, but that we had outstanding from her, the, let's see, the, expand on the concept and investigate different methods that other towns had used and whether or not they were successful. She was going to do some kind of roll-up on that. Then also, she felt that it was important for the town to come up with a plan to encourage job growth, and she was going to come up with some statistics about or data about our lack of job growth. And the third thing was the writing the introduction for, let's see, identifying amount of money invested in the commercial district in the last 10 years, and said that she would write the introduction for that information and offered to provide it. So those 3 things outstanding, I didn't know if that was going to be part of our report.
The other thing is, do you guys want me to send you the Word document for the surveys so you can insert graphics or any of that?
You mean the actual survey, or you gave us the report, for the results report, which gave the questions themselves.
Right, I just didn't know if you wanted, because I sent that as a PDF, but I didn't know if you wanted the graphics, like the charts to show, like I wasn't sure if you were going to insert graphics or from the survey, or if you're just going to attach the survey as a whole.
Well,
Because I see that
think
was
that's-
Lori's recommendation.
I mean, I think it's one of the discussion items. Is,
Okay.
Do we want to do that as an annex, or do we, which is probably the simplest way is to do that as an annex to it.
I think so.
And then we can refer to it, and you just have that as annex 1 or 2,
Right.
whichever one we want to make it. But that way we don't have to recreate it. We can, if there's a highlighted item we want to bring out, then we bring that out in the report, but then the actual data exists there, so depends.
Refer to Appendix C.
Depends on how much someone wants to read. You know, if they want to go based on the summary, or if they want to look at what actual,
Right.
you know, where the actual responses were. So, I mean, that's more typical in a report like this, so that, you know, that you know, what they're going to be looking at, by and large, is more from the executive summary standpoint, what's there, and then, you know, if they want to see additional details, then they go to the attachments.
Yeah.
Right.
So feel free to flame me savagely on the report.
Well, no, we have to do something first.
How do I type that?
We still have to accept the minutes.
Oh, I make a motion we accept the minutes
As correct, as
Excuse
amended.
me.
as amended.
That's what you said. I knew that's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Is there a second?
Well, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
I wasn't here.
You can still vote for the minutes.
No, you can't.
Yes, you
weren't
can.
here.
Yes, you can. You're a member of the committee. You can still vote the minutes.
Really?
Yes.
The board, no, the select board always, if you're not there, you never, you
You're
don't.
still accepting whether the minutes are, whether you will accept the minutes or not.
All right, I'll accept them.
Oh, we get that.
Okay, so,
Good
oh, this is getting
calling a
plain.
Are you
All right.
Right.
point of order?
All right. I'm
Okay,
sprawled out here.
so now we get into,
Oh, boy.
Now I can take notes. I'm like totally, all right, there we go.
okay. Everyone should have gotten the info that was sent out, which was the draft, or the draft set, or the draft kind of layout that Lori had done.
Can I share yours?
You can.
We just got back and my printer is out of ink, so I couldn't print it.
And so
You
what,
can use mine.
you know, what we had,
Oh, yeah.
you know, what we kind of discussed and laid out was, starting off with more, you know, somewhat of an executive summary, which, you know, says here's what we were called to do, and here's where the recommendations are. And then you get into what the actual charge to the group was, the methodology that we followed to, as far as the research and whatnot. And then you get into the finding, you know, the findings and where the final recommendations were. So the recommendations actually will, you know, whether that recommendation section there comes more towards the back, because it's, you know, that's the, you know, that kind of leads into what, you know, where the final recommendations are. But what you want, you know, at the front end is just a, you know, a quick synopsis of what, okay, why was the group formed? What, you know, what in short did they do? And then, you know, we have, you know, based on that, we've come up with a series of recommendations. And then you lead in, you know, then it leads into the report. I mean, that's, you know, that would be the typical flow that I would expect to see on a project like that. She's breaking her pencil.
I keep trying to tighten it, and it makes the lead go up.
Well, yeah.
So,
It's a turn pencil.
I guess it is.
You didn't know that?
I'm going to leave it alone.
Did you want a pen instead?
She's sitting here really fighting with a pencil.
I don't even know where.
I always have a spare. So.
Oh, dear. Just all these little tool-type things.
Is it too technological for you?
They have been around for a while.
I was gonna say it looks like a pencil, but it's not.
I'm finding that outline, Ralph.
You know, and I guess, you know, let's kind of look at the various elements and, you know, that are there. You know, if we start from the recommendations, which will actually come in at the, you know, at the end. it occurred to me that we also had picked up, there was some other things that we had kicked around on recommendations back in that February
I know there was
meeting.
definitely 4 of them.
Yeah. And I just want to get back to where that was, because it seems that one of them kind of fell off the page there.
Okay, hang
I want
on.
to recapture that. Where did that go?
They're on the minutes on the website too, so hold on.
It was I believe it was the February meeting where was it February, or maybe
Okay,
in
not that
the January meeting that I'm thinking about, where we left there, we had 4 different, there was 4 different things that we were hitting there.
Okay, there's the 3 in December, so it's not that one.
Yeah, I think it was February.
Okay,
February was the last one we had, so, no, I think it was,
Oh, no, not February.
oh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong list.
Here's January's.
maybe it was February.
Nope.
All right, where did I?
Well, what are
Oh, was
what are
one
the-
of them
Maybe it was
holding
December.
a class on?
Yeah, there was, because there was the issue on,
Why can't I find it?
so maybe it was,
Information on.
maybe it was
Do you not have
December.
recommendations on this?
Maybe it
Well,
was,
December only had 3. I had 3 on there.
there was,
I had 4 on my list,
In
but.
December?
yeah.
well,
What's this 3 possible ideas to recommend? Have
But then
positions
there
at
was,
town
there was at
office.
the tail end of it, you had, at the very end, it was kind
Educational
of,
guidelines, that's one that's not
Oh,
on
here we go.
here.
Have positions at town office, some sort of education
Educational
guidelines, have open real
Real
estate
estate
showcase. Our recommendation would be to take another look at the comp plan, parking and change of use issues.
So
that was the
Lori
recap. I
actually,
didn't go all the way over.
she incorporated 3 of those in number 1.
Into number 1. Do we
Okay.
want to split, want to break them out?
yeah, I think so, because,
Okay.
the reason being,
They could be overlooked.
there's some overlap there, and, perhaps the select board will, try and lump that into one thing, but, I mean, it's really, you've got the advocacy position, or, the advocate position, then you've got the other side, which is, bringing the other groups together and things like that. So it really is, that's two separate actions, or it can be 2 separate actions. And rather than us trying to decide who or how those tasks get done, we just want those tasks to get done. And, the big thing,
Oh, I see.
the advocacy one is taking it from the standpoint of, someone comes into the town hall and says, I want to start a business, what do I got to do? That's where I envision that,
Yep.
that position running. Then you've got the other one that says, okay, now we've got something that we want to coordinate between what's happening with the other ad hoc groups or whatever. So, I mean, that's a separate action.
And that's not the Business Advocacy Advisory Board, is it? What you,
The business, yeah, I mean,
okay, so
that's a separate,
Yeah, but
that's a
not,
separate item.
well, not necessarily, like we're saying, we think we should do the educational workshop, the pub hub seminars or whatever, but we aren't saying that we think the
That
staff
staff
position
position,
has
okay.
to be responsible for that.
Wait a
We're not
second.
really saying, we think the advocacy group has to be responsible for that. We think those things should be
All right,
done.
yes.
Yep.
And somebody else could decide.
Okay,
who
so
does it.
starting with connecting, is that right? Starting with the word connecting, that's a separate bullet. Right?
Because reading this, it looks like you're asking the staff to do all of that, right there,
Yep.
that one position. So making that completely different. So this is creating.
Connecting businesses to resources is included.
Yeah, connecting to the resources
And
is,
so
All right.
you put your period at the end after
Of resources, but Pub Hub would be,
Okay,
Yeah.
so then, starting with Pub Hub,
That can be just another bullet.
okay, these will be that'll be a bullet, okay.
And the educational workshop is, I mean, in our initial discussion of it,
Yep.
is separate from that, so that could be another bullet.
Okay.
I'll watch the meeting again, take notes so I can hear the conversation. It's hard to take notes and talk and keep up at the same time, so I usually
Yes.
watch.
Yeah, I usually give up.
That's why I watch the minutes.
Okay, and professional services, planning, funding, grants, that marketing, Raymond, what about the rest of it?
I think we had that under the position.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, well,
All right.
you
Marketing,
know,
Raymond.
again, you know, some of that stuff is ongoing, and it, you know, what you're, you know,
Well,
what,
there-
you know, kind of step back and think about it from this standpoint. You've got, when someone walks into the town and wants to, you know, wants to start a business, how are you gonna help that person out? Which is separate from the town looking out independently to
Marketing
find
and-
find other things. So that's two separate functions. Now, ultimately, you could have the same person doing those, but it's two separate and distinct functions that we're
Yeah.
talking about there.
Right.
So we wanna separate those because,
And theoretically, somebody else could do that
yeah,
marketing.
I mean, because
business.
you have, you know, it could be, you know, you could farm that off to a different person or whatever. You know, so we don't want to, you know, we're not, you know, what we're trying to do is say that we, you know, we think this should be occurring, this should be occurring, and this should be occurring. And so they're distinct and different things, because you could have someone that has a high level of expertise in this one area here, and you'd want to have that person doing that, whereas this
Right.
person may be better suited doing this and things like that. So.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're saying all those bullets should get hit.
So marketing Raymond is a business-friendly community is a different bullet point.
Okay.
I guess making it so is a different bullet point too. Because the person who's in marketing isn't necessarily going to be doing the making. You know, making the changes. Making it so that includes all those things in that checklist that we didn't meet very many of.
Yeah, and there could be lots of people responsible for different
Right.
components. So how about acting as liaison with the Business Advocacy Advisory Board? Is that back to the, does that go with bullet one?
That can go back to the,
Staff position.
Okay.
the economic development advocate, or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
whatever title wants to get hung on that, but,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's, you know, that's logical because, you know, that goes there, but,
Okay.
you know, and under the review and update comprehensive plan, did we want to be a little bit more specific in there? Because, I mean, the areas where we were seeing the issues there was in regards to parking and land use.
And we mentioned that specifically in
Yeah. Because bear in mind, this is going to be at the more towards the end. It's not going to be in the front end of the report. This is, here's where the final recommendations are.
Yeah, and Stephanie from GP even mentioned that it may not be overhauling the whole entire comp plan. It may be just adding
Yeah.
a new section onto
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
so
because,
we're
you know,
just revising the existing.
But it's-
Essentially,
it's
it
a
was a lot
function,
of
you know, I
good
mean,
work, and it's
yeah.
very,
'Cause,
I mean, we like most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, because if your only issues that we're seeing from what we're getting from people is the issues are parking. The issue is, have we choked off where logical growth could be? You know, those are areas that should be reviewed in there
Right.
to see what should be done. But it doesn't mean you throw the baby
Right,
out with the
that's
bathwater.
only a
you know.
really small part of the
Yeah.
comp plan.
So, we want, it's not just review, it's review and update with an eye toward, or toward those specific areas.
Right.
And the landscaping too. That's a little bit of overkill. That's only in the design guidelines, it's not in the comp plan, but still
But
comp
that's when
plan.
they're
that's
reviewing
like-
it, because
Yeah.
that's all it's there. So like you had mentioned in another meeting, we just help them clarify it to read it better for people to come into town.
And one of the other things with the recommendation I just had a question with, like, I see with the staff position and then the comp plan, but were you going to implement anything in terms of creating policies, like, that evolve around economic development, like, TIF, or even a disaster recovery plan for what do you do when a new business comes into town, you now have all this money being added into, taxes, or you lose that business and then you lose all those taxes. So, because I saw this part, I know we had discussed it otherwise, but I just didn't know if there were going to be any recommendations about that, or if it was just going to be addressed in your overall report.
I mean, I guess it's, I think that would fall under the, maybe that's another bullet item, which is, to review potential TIF changes or whatever, something, I'm not sure exactly how we want to say that right off the top of my head, but, looking at that as far as overall, not only number one, reviewing potential for a new, or for TIF and how it would be used. Because I'd have to think through how we want to word that, but because that would require, that would obviously require further study by.
Right.
That would have to look at what areas you are available for developing a TIF, and then how would you go about looking at using that money, because that's all part of the whole TIF application. You'd have to look at what you're going to do there. So I mean, that's a whole separate study that would have to be done. In order to develop it properly and
Right.
have it fly at the
Right.
state level.
Right.
Because especially they're looking for any money they can get, so they're not
Right.
they're not looking for areas that are going to get carved out. They're looking for areas that are going to get carved in.
Right, exactly.
So, do we all think we should make that another bullet point?
I do.
Right, because
It's huge.
Yeah,
we
it
have our
is.
existing TIF, and then we have no policies like our revolving loan programs or anything like that, even with the existing TIF, so.
So investigate potential TIF development.
Is that the only thing under that bullet? Are there several things like the TIF review or TIF, consider or study the TIF and disaster recovery and?
Well, what this would do, if the recommendation is investigate potential TIF development, then in the discussion, then we can flush that in some more. But the recommendation is to investigate it.
Okay,
We're not recommending what that TIF should look like. We're just saying, it is another economic development potential. So it should be investigated. Now, in the narrative, we'll have to flush that a little bit more in depth. Which is where we get the difference in the, in what the recommendation is. Okay, here's what you should do.
Right.
Back there, we told them why they should do it. So.
okay.
Do we want grants in there as well?
The grants were back up under, in that
Staff position?
Not in the staff position, but in one of the bullets, how
Right here.
that got
Yep.
broken out.
The planning funding grants.
Because that got broken into a separate bullet. Because there are professional grant writers and people that's all they do in their life is fund
Right.
grants. And actually, I know a couple, so.
So as far as the layout goes, did we want to open with that quotation or not? The one about livability?
Yeah, well, you can just put that on the title page.
Like that.
And then, okay, so then this chunk under recommendations is going to go at the end of the report, right?
Right.
Okay,
Because everything is going to lead us there.
yep. So that sounds like we would start with the charge to the task force. Do we want it, this in depth? This is exactly what we were charged with.
No, that's fine. That's fine, because that's what the charge to the group was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all in there,
So
yeah.
everything flows from that.
And as far as that methodology and the findings and things, that's obviously listish. We want to flesh that out more or have
Yeah.
more detail around those items?
Yeah,
And put it in paragraphs?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want it to be kind of a narrative at that point. I mean, at the end of the day, the stuff leading up to the recommendations, I think, we want to look at kind of keeping that within, maybe 5 to 6 pages. We're not here to write a tome, we're here to, you start to get beyond there, and then you start to lose your audience.
Oh,
And,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got, the
I was-
attach,
Keeps it
I was
keep it
kind of
straight.
thinking it might be less than that.
your attachments and things like that are gonna, will bring it, will end up
If
bringing the thing
anybody
out
has
to,
any.
to, maybe 20 or so pages, but, the actual, here's what we were told to do, here's what we did, and here's what we, at the end of the day, here's what our feeling is should
Yep.
be done. So, I mean, that's the way, that's the way it needs, wants to flow. Doesn't need to flow, it wants to flow.
Wants to.
So you're thinking this thing's going to be 20 pages, single space, altogether?
Well, that
They're gonna
that
read it?
includes, no, because that's your annexes and whatnot, bring you up there. Because if you take that survey, that was 10 pages there.
Okay.
So, I mean, the actual narrative that gets you to and including the recommendations is only 4 to 6 pages.
Sharon's sitting there going, people are going to shut it off after like 20 pages of reading it, yeah.
No, I mean, but as I say, that's why, your thing to get you to the recommendation is 4 or 6 pages max. The rest of it is your annexes, which you say, okay, here was the survey, and that's, sorry. They can look at that and if they want to, but, we've referenced the survey results inside the report. So now if they want to see what the actual survey was, then they can go see what the survey was. That flow chart of what how things flow through now, that's an attachment. We've referenced that
Yep.
we looked at that. We really, and the recommendation by creating that advocate that kind of streamlines, whether we would then, I mean, I don't think we need to do a whole new org chart or a flow chart of that, because that would come out if they decide they like the recommendations, and that would be created after that. But here's where, the one tells you, here's where we are today, and here's what our recommendation is.
What about the best practices chart, a clean copy of that?
That would be an
That-
annex.
Best, right. Do you have this somewhere?
Yeah.
Clean?
Yep.
Yeah, because I marked up mine.
Yeah, I have all these documents saved, so I can just send them out.
I know. Ask me anything. Oh, Sharon, you had mentioned about the key points of the economic development models that we had selected. I like that idea. You said that quite a while ago. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do
Okay.
remember that. And that's what you did.
I did.
I
Oh,
think.
good for me. Yeah.
I
No, you know
I
what?
thought
don't.
that's what you did.
No, I didn't. I don't remember doing it. I liked it though. I want to. I want to do it. And at the end, actually just kind of bulleted all of them, which is the last page of the draft.
Right.
And we can keep it like that, and I can turn it into English, or we can
Not
just,
Swahili?
or we can just use the two that we, like more detail on the two we chose, and never mind the two we didn't, or what?
I personally think it might be a good idea to include a little bit about the two we didn't
All of them,
choose,
okay.
just so they know there were
What we were
different.
picking from.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So people
because
see
not
what it was
everybody's
for.
going to want to read that whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll
What are you
attach
saying?
it. No. I mean,
Well,
that two-page chart that she gave us.
Right.
They will attach it, but if they have a summary of what we gleaned from it,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
agree that
Well, how
the
we came to
extreme
those.
one isn't going to work for us.
yeah, and, we can, there's logical reasons we can state in there why we, I mean, it was extreme, this was discounted because of, we can do that in a simple one or
Yeah.
two line. Because, first of all, for a town that's 200,000 people.
Right, it's
200,000
expensive,
people.
Right.
Yeah.
Nor do we want them. Let's see. Just trying to see if there was things that Lisa had in hers that we haven't kind of touched on already. Models, yes. Yes. Let's see. Major economic developments to be affected, things that need to happen. This is where she was talking about the sewer, natural gas, and
Yeah.
water. Just see if- Did we,
I had it under survey,
okay,
and I don't know.
That's
if
where
I-
it came out.
That's one of the, yep.
yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, it gets brought out, but I mean.
There's
it's
nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we're gonna do about it, we're not recommending that they bring in sewer and natural gas at this point, I mean,
But we do have to acknowledge that
Yeah,
it was
but
raised.
But it
yeah.
was, it was an item that was brought up in the survey, so.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely keep it in.
Natural gas, sewer, sometimes water, why businesses don't locate here, the infrastructure.
That's a good place for it.
Sorry, I'm just
What?
looking over these. Oh, I gave mine
She doesn't have her
lower.
Sorry.
Cheating off my paper.
This isn't a test.
This is a workshop.
We are allowed to share.
Under that same thing, the commented negative themes were parking and costs. I think just to elaborate that those were like planning board costs and or permitting costs.
Oh.
Clarify it.
Yeah, I mean, because of the difference between the cost between starting up a new business and the costs incurred because of the town.
So, and for parking, it's parking restrictions or parking,
Lack of parking, isn't
Or-
it?
Well, it's,
Both?
Well, because one of the things was not enough parking, why businesses leave. And I think that goes back
and it's
to.
not enough, but it's because of, that's because of current restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of
It's
the
not fact that
requirements.
someone can't go out and buy land, but the fact that there's,
Some restrictions on
there's
it.
current restrictions limit you to what you can
Right.
and can't do, so.
Right. Because there's there's two parts that go into that, because there's where you can have your parking, and then Raymond's ordinances also determine parking density, so for however many square
So
feet
we're
of
just,
business you have.
So common theme, parking restrictions.
Okay.
and permitting costs, okay.
Oh, also, since I have Danielle's paper, she added a note up under research in the second bullet. We've lost 400 jobs, and she put mostly manufacturing.
Oh,
I didn't know if that
That-
needed to be clarified.
Yeah, I might as well say it, because if
the more clarification.
somebody who reads it who's new to town won't know what that's about.
And that fits also into the disaster recovery, because a couple of those were just two or three businesses that shut down, and it seriously impacted the rest. Like this year, we'll probably actually realize the serious impact from Dielectric removing all of its assets from town.
The ones I hadn't already taken out.
Ouch.
So I'd be happy to whip this thing into a frenzy and ship out another draft.
Yeah, and then we can, and then what we want people
Have
to
your
do
wicked way with it.
is to annotate or whatever, how we want, and then send it back, and we'll try.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
We'll,
yeah.
then we'll keep doing it and send it out and, redo drafts and whatnot, so we can try and get that pulled together, so. And then we're supposed
I
to.
hope you know, we all were expecting you to do this anyways with all the little notes that you're.
I know, like,
No, and I don't, tell me anything. If you
No, it's good.
hate whatever, say you hate it. I don't have any stake in this at all.
Well, you do have a stake in it.
What do you mean? But I mean, I'm not territorial about
Yeah.
these things. I'll just.
We
Well,
all sit here and.
Like I always say, it's easier to throw darts at something that's there than something that's
Well,
not.
and usually when
so
I
you
do-
got it, and now it's
Right,
it's
we
out
didn't, and we had tons and tons of bullets. Normally, what I would have done is turn this into about 10 pages that we all, that would have stressed over, but it seemed better to just keep it as discussion, just real quick discussion items, and then see what kind of general direction we wanted to head in, and then do that later,
And if,
so.
people have a recommended statement or whatever, let's get it in.
Oh,
so that-
absolutely,
so that,
yeah.
It
Well-
can get integrated in there.
I think it's just important that, Sharon just said too, is we need to clarify some of the, we know what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
somebody that's just taking this and picking it up, like the job thing. It's
So
just,
we can look at it from that perspective when we read it, when you
Of
send
not-
it.
As if you
Not
hadn't
seeing it, yes.
attended any
Right.
of the meetings, that's a good idea.
because that's definitely gonna.
Yep,
Because I know as the select board, when we get something, and for example, that just came to us was the tax acquired properties, you guys have all kind of known in the office what's going on, but we're getting it going, wait a second, we have these questions, we don't know clarification on them. So that way, where if we've got the 400 job, I keep jumping back to that, it's easier. It's
Yep.
easier to understand it.
and I can try to send it out too as an entire package if you can stand it, so that it would be the draft.
The way it's gonna be
And,
presented.
yep, and it would, and then have the attachments in a certain order, and you can say, well, geez, that doesn't really work. Let's move this, let's move them around and,
And you can send it in a Word document,
yeah.
because we can put it in the reviewing mode and just,
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Mark it
exactly.
up. like a school teacher.
There you go.
Everyone has Word?
Yep.
open office, but it's close enough.
Or you can bring in a Word document into it.
It gets
And
sometimes
you can
the
save it as a Word document.
right. The formatting gets a little wonky,
Well, the
but
formatting always gets funky, yeah, but that can, we can handle the formatting in the final.
That's right,
in the
I
final.
can take care of that.
But as long as you can bring it in.
Put your thoughts in.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you've got open office, then you don't want to do a docx, you want to do a doc.
Doc, plain old doc.
Yeah,
Yep.
because if you do a docx, I don't think that'll,
but
I'm not
yeah,
sure,
it's
sometimes it just gets funky.
yeah. As I said, goes a little wonky.
Yeah,
on me.
it really depends on what computer I open it on. Yeah.
But if we all stay at doc level instead of docx, then. 'cause
We know all
even
about
if
that.
you've got the higher level office, you can save it as a doc file.
Well, and I can always, I was PDFing them too,
Yeah.
so that you guys could see what it
Yeah.
really looked like,
Yeah.
even though you couldn't
I
edit
mean,
it.
at the end of the day, we'll send, it'll be done as a PDF for the final, for the final submittal.
Yeah,
But as far as going around in the draft mode to try and do updates on it, if we stay in Word, then we should be
yep.
in good shape there.
For the minutes on all this, I wasn't gonna do all the changes. I was just gonna say numerous changes were made, or would you guys want the changes in the minutes that we're all talking about?
You mean for this report?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't have to, no, because what we're doing now is discussing the final,
Okay.
so, the final product, so you can say, discussion was held on the report in the format, that'll be drafted and sent around.
That's my favorite line ever. People go on for a half hour. The board discussed lots of things.
When I go back and see the minutes, I'm like, wow, she covered that pretty good.
We used to do that with the library
I mean,
minutes.
'cause we've gone
Well,
through,
we
we've
talked
gone
about this,
through
yeah.
we've gone through what we want to say, so what
Right,
we're
yeah.
doing now is, now we're discussing, now we're handling
The fine discussion.
actual formatting and whatnot of the final report, so that doesn't, the minutes just has to, say that.
Okay.
And then the report itself takes over from there.
Okay.
And I save every time I change it, I save it as a new thing, a new version.
Yeah, a Rev 1,
So,
2,
yep,
3.
yep. So if anybody dares to ask me for those, they can have them. Double dog dare you.
That's
How about a
okay.
triple dog? You went right from double to triple. Tell who watches those movies.
Yeah.
Just don't get a flagpole out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we have too much fun.
This is way easy.
Timing.
What's our deadline now,
Oh,
since we passed the old deadline?
Yeah,
They said
Sam
that
was
they-
very, very concerned that we were taking that too seriously.
we put it as part of the charge.
Well, I know, we put it in, and it was also
Well,
in
you have to have a
italics,
target,
which,
you have to have,
come
you
on.
always have to have a target. I mean, that's
Do you want to
fine.
go for the end of the month, or is that too soon?
Well, the end of the month is next week.
Yeah,
No. Oh,
yeah,
We're
17.
still in March.
We still have 2 weeks, don't we?
no.
No.
I know, I'm old, but not that old. Yeah.
It's a long month.
No, next week is the last week of the month.
Oh my gosh.
So I think if, and I'll be going on next week anyway, but that doesn't.
Is everybody leaving the state recently?
I have the
It does
first-
seem like that, doesn't it?
All 4 selectmen are going besides me.
Are you serious?
Nobody gave me the message.
to
So you're kind of a
evacuate.
quorum, is that what you're?
Yeah, sure. about that.
But let's look at the calendar here.
Let's look
I
at
have Tuesdays are kind of working better in terms of making like.
it. Oh, are we getting back together
coordination.
again?
Well,
Well,
I'll tell you what my druthers would be,
Okay.
is to handle as much of this as we can
Through email?
through the email, and so we can get things going
Yeah.
back and forth that way. Once we have that all finalized, we can get together one last time just to sign,
Aw,
make sure everybody's happy with the final version, sign off on it, and then discuss how, at that we can also discuss exactly how we want to present it to the select board.
Okay.
Because we'll then ask for a date to go on to the select board thing, which will give them the report ahead of time, and then typically what they would do is have us come in to be able to answer any questions that they
Right.
would have on that. So,
Based on their schedule, like their agenda deadline is April 1st. I don't foresee that you guys will
we
make
won't
that.
have, we won't have it for that.
All right, so-
So, I mean, essentially, what we're banking for is their May,
Right.
is having it so that they can review it at their May select board meeting,
Right.
Which gives
Which
us a little
is
bit more
when?
time.
which is when.
Right now, looks like May 13th based on their typical schedule.
Okay. If it's May 13th, that's fine, because I leave the 14th for
Okay.
10 days.
Yeah, I'm
Normal.
pretty
Once
sure it'll be
again,
13th.
leaving the country.
Really? Oh, what a blast. Well, 24 starts on the 5th, so we can't do anything then.
So, I mean,
24/7.
backdating here, if we say that we want to have the report in and of itself buttoned up by the week of the 7th of April, does that work for everybody? And then if, based on that, we could get together right around tax day.
Yeah,
So
can we,
to make sure that we're all,
Ready to
that
go.
ready to go and discuss how we, anything that we want there. So does that work for everybody?
does April 15th work for you guys? So that way I can lock down
Yeah.
this, because the 16th I have
Works for
school
me.
board here, okay.
So, Lori will feed it, if anyone has anything before, what I'll kind of do is, I think I'll work on a little draft of like the preamble
Yep,
executive summary and get that to you, and then you can fit that in with the rest of the stuff, and then we can bang that out around and see if that works for people. Does that sound like a plan?
it does. I can probably spin this around by the end of the week and just to
To get
see
it out
where,
full
yeah,
thing.
where we're at
Mhm.
and make sure that I understood what we all said.
I mean, I'll be out of town next week, but I'll have my email anyway, so I can,
Okay,
it's just, I'll be busy during the days, reworking my mother's bathrooms.
oh. Norway, huh?
Yep, that's in May, yep.
It's about 40 minutes from here.
Chili.
No, not that one.
I know.
The other one.
I know.
The real one.
I did just to tease you. I know.
Whereabouts?
We're going to Oslo, then up to Buda, then down to Bergen, down around.
I've been to Stavanger.
Mhm.
That's it, that area. Cool.
Are we all set then?
I've been to South Paris.
In that case,
Okay, you gotta stop the local.
meeting is adjourned.